What's up, traders? Welcome to today's Equity Empire Chart Analysis session. When most investors are throwing darts, we're looking for clues in the charts. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the chart of rocket and satellite company RocketLab. RocketLab recently reported third quarter revenues of $155 million, backlog of north of $1 billion, and progress on their reusable rocket program, Neutron. Now, you would think that that would cause RocketLab shares to take off, but actually they've headed in the opposite direction. RocketLab shares are down about 40% from their highs just middle of last month. And that begs the question, is there an opportunity here to buy RocketLab shares at a discount, either for a quick bounce trade or for a lower entry price for a longer term position? So what we're going to do in today's session is we're simply going to be looking for support and resistance levels to see if we can either construct a short-term trade or, once again, a lower entry price for a long-term position. So I'm going to go try to find a support level or two. And our first support level is right here that we're actually getting pretty close to. So there's a support level in the 41.40 to 37.64 price range. And pre-market indication is that we're going to be down about 5% to 42.80. So we're rapidly approaching that support level. That's a tradable support level to consider. There's another support level. What I'm going to do next is there's a couple different clues of support levels just below there, but I'm going to use one in the middle there, and I'm going to show you exactly why I'm choosing this level. So there's another support level right here in the 35.86 to 32.02 price range. So if we get a pullback to the 35.36 price range, that'll be a 50% pullback. So the upper level, we've already bounced off of that level once. So that's a pretty good indication that there could be some institutions, some big mutual funds or big investors that are looking to start repurchasing shares in the 41 to 37 range. But we may get an actual 50% pullback from all-time highs. And if it were to do that, it'd be closer to the 35-36 price range. So that's another level for you to consider if you're looking to be a little more conservative on your entry. Then I'm going to draw one more level just below the breakout point from earlier this year. So we'll have three different options for potential entry here in RocketLab. So there's another support level right here in the 28 to 24.45 price range. Okay, so we were consolidating sideways, and that's where RocketLab first started to break out above the prior peak from earlier this year. So three support levels to consider for an entry on this major pullback in RocketLab shares. Now let's go see if we can find a resistance level or two we can use for a target. And there is a resistance level right here, starting around 56. Okay, so we dropped meaningfully. We came back and retested 56 and then continued to plunge. There's a couple more resistance levels above that. I'm only going to point out one here because we're going to use that one for a target. If you wanted to use multiple targets, there's another resistance level in the 64 range, and there's the ultimate all-time high resistance level in the 69 range. Okay, so if you were to construct a trade, this is not financial advice. This is simply a tutorial on how to find support and resistance levels to construct a trade. So one way to construct a trade would be the aggressive entry is the first level, first support level here. Now place a buy limit order in the 41.40 range, protective stop just below that level, so just below 37.67. And your target goes just in front of that resistance level. And that trade setup right there has about a 3.2 to 1 reward to risk ratio, which is actually a very favorable ratio. In other words, for every $100 worth of risk you would take, you would have potential reward of more than $300. Now, if you were to go for the, I'll call it the not too hot, not too cold, the Goldilocks zone, in between the two support levels, the middle support level, you would construct that trade with a buy limit order at 35.86, protective stop just below 32, target in the same spot. And this one's going to give you a much greater reward to risk ratio. That's going to have a 4.1 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio if you wanted to go for the Goldilocks zone. And then finally, if you wanted to wait even more patiently, down in the 28 to 24 price range. I'm not going to set up that trade there. It's a little too far from current price for right now. But we've got two potential trade setups to consider here now in RocketLab. And if you wanted to go with the upper support level to construct your trade, you'd ideally looking for RocketLab to do something like this. To continue to head down, to bounce off that level, and over time work our way back to the first resistance level. So that's how you would ideally want your trade to play out if you went for the upper level. Now, if you wanted to go for, I keep calling this the Goldilocks zone. It's because it's when you've got 3 support levels to consider and there's one right in the middle there, especially when that's the 50% pullback, which a lot of aggressive growth stocks, when aggressive growth stocks in general are being sold off, some of the best ones will still pull back 50%. If that's the case, the Goldilocks zone here in the middle would be the one that played out for RocketLab. So if you're thinking a little more conservative on your entry, you'd be looking for price to do something like this. To find some support briefly, but continue a bit lower to the next support level before heading higher back to our resistance level. Okay, so that trade, I'll make it a blue line. So there are 2 potential trade setups on how to potentially buy this big sell-off to buy the dip in RocketLab. So let's wrap up the session. Hope you enjoyed the session. I'll be back with more technical analysis this weekend and also next week. In the meantime, wishing you the best of luck in your trading and investing, and we'll see you soon.